The Pocket Operator from Teenage Engineering is a tiny little synthesizer that resembles a pocket calculator. Don't let the basic appearance fool you, these are really powerful little pieces of kit. There's a variety of cases available for them, and I've experimented with a lot of 3D printed ones in the past, but the premium cases made by Beatmaker's Boutique really are a huge step up in terms of quality. I've had their SPO-XS model for a little while now, and the quality of it really blew me away when it first arrived. With the Pocket Operator in place inside the casing, it really does make it feel like a much more premium product. So when their other two cases were available on the website, I ordered those and we've got them here. So in this video, I'll be going through the installation process and we'll be taking a look at each one. Hi and welcome back to the shed. I'm JOEBLEEPS and these are two of my Pocket Operators in their brand new cases from Beatmaker's Boutique. Now I've been a fan of Teenage Engineering's Pocket Operator synthesizers for quite some time now, and a little while ago I got my hands on this SPO-XS case which I put on my PO-133 Street Fighter Edition Pocket Operator, and it is such an amazing case. I've been keeping an eye on their website since for any re-releases of the other cases that they have done, and recently the MPO-XS came in stock, so I ordered that one. At the same time, while it was still in stock, I also ordered the PO Boy. I mean, come on, it's a Game Boy Color style one. I'm not going to be able to resist that now, am I? So actually installing the Pocket Operator inside the cases was a fairly simple, if a little traumatic. You'll see why. But in this video, it's just a quick introduction to what Pocket Operators are and the process of installing them inside these incredible cases. Let's take a look. So I finally got round to picking up a Pocket Operator KO recently, and I was surprised to see I've not actually done any videos about these things before. If you've never seen one before, it's about the same size as a tiny little pocket calculator, absolutely bare bones, but inside each one is a very powerful little synthesizer with a little graphic interface on the top, and you can sequence sounds and program all sorts of stuff with them. They're cool. And this one also includes a sampler, so you can sample little sound bites or bits of music. So I've got a little Flight of the Navigator sample on it at the moment.
What were those strange sounds? Strange sounds? Oh, that's called music. I want to hear more music.
And then you can use all sorts of different sounds to create sequences, like this one here. And you can play your other stuff over the top. And you can get like similar patterns, like just an intro, like a drum pattern. And then you can copy paste it to another block, so you can have the next pattern with some sounds on. And then you can copy paste again and change the tune that's on it. And there are other channels. I'm never quite sure how to say it because there's no vowels in it. Center random is what always springs to mind. Anyway, that channel has got loads of cool sample packs that you can put on there. So I've got, for instance, a 808 drum kit style kit on there, and a 909 style one as well. And that's what you can kind of use to sequence all these things. But the Flight of the Navigator one that I put on is on there. You can change the pitch and all sorts of things on it. So yeah, it's just loads of stuff you can do with them. Anyway, this isn't going to be a tutorial video of them. It's just the fact that I have been into these for a while. First one I got was this one, the PO Arcade. I'm into my chiptune, and this has got kind of like your video gamey kind of sounds on it. And you can run effects on them as well. There's so much stuff. So the other thing about this one is it's got like a little sort of like a drone chord kind of feature. So if I've made a sequence and it plays like this one, I can press on the chord button and twiddle these. You get that drone chord, and you can also get this kind of effect on it. And you can program in your chord sequence on that background riff as well, so the whole thing sounds cool. And then you've got like your FX, so you could do things like filter passes, or just cool little sound effects like. So yeah, they are a lot of fun, and I've been hooked since I got this one. I've got a few others. I've got a Mega Man type one, and I've got a 3D printed case for that one, and it does kind of feel quite nice and substantial with that. You can play like your individual notes, and you can have like your sequenced stuff. So I've got like a little pre-programmed sequence on there, and then you can just kind of play along over the top of those. This one does a cool little sweep up or sweep down when you're holding that, so you can go like... So there is a lot of fun to be had with these things, and I have tried all sorts of different 3D printed cases. So pocket operators are made by a company called Teenage Engineering, and they also released like cases to go on these at the time. Now, one of the things about the cases is you need to snap off these little hang tags, which should be fine, but I find they're kind of part of the appeal of how they look, so I've resisted snapping those off for quite some time, even to the extent that when I printed cases, I made sure that they would have little slots so that you could have the tag sticking out. Anyway, let's fast forward a bit. I have printed lots of different cases, and it's rare I get one that I'll use for a long time. This one is quite involved. It's got like these little windows on it for the LEDs, because obviously the buttons when you're playing have got these little LEDs that light up so you know which step you're on. And this has got like these little windows, so on my resin printer I printed the little windows. I used an FDM 3D printer, my Ender 3, for printing these, so when you're playing the LEDs will light up through the little windows. I quite like that case. It's a little rattly with the buttons, but the quality of it's pretty good and it's quite nice to play on. So I had printed a few more like that, but then I managed to get my hands on this, which is a case made by a company called Beatmaker's Boutique. I have been lusting after their cases for quite some time, but very often they are in short supply. So when they had a run of this one in stock, I ordered one, and it absolutely transforms the pocket operator into something that feels a whole lot more substantial. So this is a SPO-XS style one. This does actually have a little slot for the hang tag to go through. It's got like a clear rubber keyboard, so when you play on this one, they'll all light up. Little Dungeons and Dragons sample on there, and you can change the pitch of all of those. So this is the Street Fighter one, so it's basically the same as this but with Street Fighter branding on it, but it is cool. So yeah, the quality of this one absolutely blew me away. So I've been keeping an eye on their website since for their other cases to come in stock, and come in stock they have. So I've got these two. I'll just pack this one away for now. So they come in these little, look at this, comes in like a little carry case with the foam outer, and then the foam top just goes over the top, and these little clamps click in, so it's like really well protected in those. So yeah, I've got these two. So on the left here, this PO Boy. I mean, come on, you know me, you know I love my Game Boys. I couldn't resist this one. So this is like a Game Boy Color style one, but yeah, there's no opening for the tab. So clearly I'm going to have to put the arcade one in this. It's absolutely made for it, isn't it? But it is going to involve removing that hang tag, and I think I just need to get over myself because this is going to be so good in there. Also, what I've got is this one, which is the first one I saw, actually, the MPO-XS, or is it MPO-X5? Anyway, this is the first one I saw made by Beatmaker's Boutique, and it looked absolutely phenomenal. But they have been out of stock for quite a long time. Little rubbery buttons, little openings there for the LEDs. It's gonna look so cool. But again, there is no little opening in the top for the tag. So the tag, unfortunately, is gonna have to go. I'm gonna put my KO in this one, and I'm going to put my arcade in the PO Boy. So we'll start with the PO Boy. It's frustrating because there's a little opening there for the hang tag. Now I was thinking, I have got options. I could try to cut an opening in here for the tag to go through, but I might do more damage than good with that, so I think I'll probably use it in its intended purpose. And I think once I actually get over the fact that hang tag's gone, it's not like I use it for anything. So yeah, I'm gonna snap that off and put it in here. So we'll do the PO boy first. So these are our instructions. You got to remove the hang tag and the wire stand. So if you're squeamish about this, look away. The wire stand can always be put back on, but the hang tag, oh, I don't like doing this. Anyway, like I say, look away. It's done. You know I'll end up keeping that anyway. Right then, so the painful bit is done. Now onto the fun bit. So remove the hang tag and the wire stand. So you remove the rubber section of this. So it's made out of two bits. There's an injection molded plastic section, which is where your pocket operator sits. And then there's the flexible rubbery top, which is where you've got all of your buttons attached. So first thing you do is take your pocket operator and it just sits in there. It's actually got a rubberized layer here as well, so we're not going to be rattling around in there. That sits flat on top of there, and then the rubber casing kind of hooks on at the bottom. There's like this little tab here, so that hooks on here at the bottom, and then the top bit hooks over the outer, and because it's flexible it will just pull and stretch and slide over it, and then once it's in place, I'm all good. I don't even see the snapped off bits, so they won't upset me anymore. It's easy access for changing the batteries. These just take a couple of AA batteries, and yeah, here we are, and we can. But what it also comes with is two little knobs. So those dials will also affect things like pitch and volume of notes and all sorts of stuff. But yeah, look at this. They've got like a little A and B button to make it like a Game Boy. I think what I'll do is turn it to about the halfway point for the A and B. So put the B on there, A on there, and we've got that total Game Boy Color aesthetic going on. So when we're playing, like you can see, we've got the red LEDs visible at the gaps here, and then when I'm playing, they'll all light in sequence. And I don't know if you can see, but there is some text on the surface there, sound, pattern and BPM up here, and down the side there you've got the star, the FX, play, and write, which is when you're recording what you're playing. So you can still see your main controls, and with the other note, it's essentially you get to know what each one of those is. There's the little speaker opening here, which again is very much like the Game Boy Color style speaker opening there. I love how this looks. There's a big opening there for the cables to go in, so you can use quite chunky audio cables or sync cables too. I love how this looks, and it feels like, compared to handling this, like it's quite an expensive piece of kit, but it doesn't really feel it when you've just got a single PCB. And the bare bones nature of it, the PCB with the little tactile buttons just soldered straight to the surface, is cool, but over long periods of time for playing, something like this is way more comfortable and way more satisfying and feels a lot more substantial, and it's just a lot more impressive of a unit. I really like it. Okay, good. Well, the deed is done with that one. Let's pack all that away again. You also get these cool stickers. I have total sticker anxiety. I feel like I stick a sticker on something and I curse it, and then I'll end up having to throw it away, and the cool sticker will be squandered. So for the moment, the sticker is in the box with the case. But just look at that. It makes it feel like such a premium piece of kit, and I think the arcade is the perfect choice for going in the PO Boy. Right then. So we close up, close the clasps. These clasps, by the way, when you get it, sometimes some of them sit a little bit flat. So I did use my heat gun and a steel ruler to just bend them out a little bit more so I can get my fingertips in and pop those open. I'll do a YouTube short of that one, I think. Right then, what have we got here? It's a shame the stickers aren't a little bit smaller, because I'd put them on the front and then I'd know what's in each case instead of having to open it up each time. I could put it on the bottom maybe I might do that. Side note, I did put the stickers on the back of the cases. It looks great and it makes it much easier to select the one that I actually want. Right then, so on to the MPO-XS. Again, we've got all of the stuff inside. We can remove the foam insert. We've got two little caps for going over our two potentiometer dials. We've got another cool sticker. So looking at the instructions for this one, I suspect it's largely going to be the same. Again, we're going to need to remove the hang tag. So again, I'm going to ask you to look away. Oh, it really does pain me to do this, but they do look so good inside the case. So that is done and ready, and I apologize to anyone who's a purist about keeping those hang tags. I know exactly how you feel, but these cases are just so good. So we'll pop off the rubber section. So actually this is all like one piece. All the buttons, the flex, everything else is all one continuous piece. Again, the base is the same mold as on the Game Boy style one. We've got little rubber feet on the bottom. There's a little rubber section here for the pocket operator to sit on. So that goes in here. And then the case again hooks on from the bottom. It goes over this little tab here. And then you kind of hook it over the top. It is rubber again, so it will stretch around it. And then it'll just sort of nestle in place like that. You make sure everything sits flush. You've got a nice substantial.
I want to hear more music. What were those strange sounds? Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Strange sounds.
So you can change the pitch.
Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Strange sounds. Oh, that's called music. Oh, that's called music. Oh, that's called music. Strange sounds.
So that's a bit quiet in the mix, so I can change the volume of it.
Strange sound. Oh, that's called music. Oh, that's called music.
So there it is with the caps on, all complete. It again, it adds a little bit more weight to it. There's no rattle to it at all. It feels much more premium. Like when I compare it to my 3D printed one, it made it a lot more usable. But like there is a world of difference, but there's a world of fun to be had out there as well with the 3D printed cases. There's loads on Thingiverse, there's loads on Printables, so just have a little explore for pocket operator case on Thingiverse. You'll find loads of good stuff out there. In terms of this kind of thing, for me, I get these gadgets, I play with them for a bit and I forget about them, and I think with something like this it makes me much more likely to pick them up and actually play with them. It's a much more like tactile experience of actually playing on them and using them. As I say, when I got the XS, this has absolutely transformed how much I use them and how much more satisfying I find them to use. So I've been waiting for this one to come into stock, the XS. They've had the PO Boy ones in stock for a little while now, so I thought while I was ordering this I'd get that one as well, and now I've got a full set. Now that I've got all three, I have to say the XS is still definitely the best. I think the metal finish on top, but in particular the buttons and the labelling and everything work really well for me. The fact that when you are playing and the LED lights up the entire button, it makes it, with the lamp moved away, you can see when I'm playing on this that the actual whole button lights up, which is really easy to see on the interface there. With the XS, it's through these little gaps here, so it's still visible, you can see there, okay, but it's not. Let's get on the other pattern. So it would be nicer if it said like sound pattern BPM there, but you do get used to that quite quickly. So if we go on to pattern, see, I can see that one there is flashing. Try and get on the right angle so you can see it. There you go. So I'm pressing there, you can see that one's flashing. So I'll go on to that pattern instead, and you see now that pattern's flashing, so we know which one's selected. And then as that plays, if we get on just the right angle, you can see the LED. But you do need to have it on the right angle, because when it's turned away you won't see it, but then when it's turned that way you can see it quite clearly. But it does look great, doesn't it? So yeah, out of the three, they're all very different. It's nice that they've got their own individual identity. The XS, I think, is still my favourite. If they got those back in stock, I would probably buy another one because it's just so nice to actually use and handle and everything else. But as you can tell, I can't stop picking all of these up. This one's definitely got that kind of Game Boy charm to it, and it's got the same sort of feel as well. And this one here has just got such a nice vibe to it that it's, yeah, it's good, isn't it? What do you think? So I did say a little while ago, I don't do much in terms of music and synthesizer stuff, but I am planning on doing more. The response to my recent little Roland Ira Compact Tweak synth video was very good, so I am planning on doing a little bit more in terms of these little musical toys. And as someone pointed out, they're not necessarily toys, they are actually very powerful synths, but they're so much fun, I've got to refer to them as toys. You can even like synchronize these together and use cables and link them and things, but this video was more to do with my cases and the absolutely amazing things that Beatmakers Boutique are doing. So that's what this one is about, and hopefully you enjoyed it. And if you're interested in getting hold of these, I will put links in the description, but warning, they are very often out of stock, and you'll just need to keep an eye on their website or get on their mailing list for reminders, and then when they're finally in stock, you might well be able to get your hands on one of these. So yeah, that's it for now. Cheers. I think these look and feel absolutely amazing. I'm thrilled with them, and I think that they really make the Pocket Operator feel like a much more premium product. Definitely something I'm more likely to pick up and play with, and over long periods, much more comfortable to play on as well. So there are actually loads of amazing tutorials for Pocket Operators on YouTube. I don't think I really need to add to those, but if you would like me to do a little bit more of an in-depth look at how to actually use them, set them up, program them, making simple tunes, then, you know, do let me know. I want to make content that people want to see. What do you think of these cases? Do you like them? Do you think it's worth that sacrifice of snapping off the tab? Do you think I'm making a big deal over nothing with a little hang tag that doesn't actually affect my life in any way, shape or form? I don't know. I just think it really was part of the charm of the Pocket Operator. And the main thing, and I've always found it a bit strange that the official cases encourage you to snap those off. I think it is part of the design of it, but I'm just not a destructive person, so I'm conflicted about these things. But I think in the long run, in terms of how good these are now, I'm not going to be swapping cases left, right and centre. These are going to live in there, and yeah, I think they've turned out great. So that's it for now. I'd love to chat to you about all of this in the comments. Please leave a like, subscribe and sign up for notifications if you want to see more like this and you want to support this little channel. Just want to give a quick shout out to ZedLabz. If you want to get into modding like I do in a lot of my videos, then they sell all the gear that you will need. If you use my link in the description, I'll get a little bit more support back to the channel at no extra cost to you. And if you use the code JOEBLEEPS, you'll get some money off your order. I've also got my Amazon storefront. If you want to take a look at that, I'll link it as well. And I'll try and link in a few Pocket Operator bits and pieces if I can find them on there too. So this is JOEBLEEPS and his chunky new Pocket Operators signing off from the shed. If you really want to keep watching me, there should be some good content popping up here. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.